morning. My name is Lupe Rubago. I'm a senior probation officer with San Diego County Probation. I'm gonna be have been employed by the county for 6 years next month. So my experiences are adult institutions. I've also done juvenile institutions. I've done adult field services, adult investigations, and I'm currently assigned to SB 618. So I have a lot of experiences and within the criminal justice system that have helped me in the position that I am right now. I am also the SB 618 MDT coordinator. Basically, my job is to organize the assessments for these people while they're being processed throughout sheriff custody. My piece with regards to the life plan and probation's piece are the first roughly 20 to 28 days of when the person accepts a plea. This is the time that we in the county have time to prepare the case, do all our assessments, put it all together, and present it at the MDT in order to create this life plan. I will go into the life plan a little bit later, but before that, I want to give you kind of what is involved in creating this life plan ahead of time. You're going to hear a lot of repetition maybe on certain things, and a lot of the presenters are going to say the same thing over and over again. The reason for this is because many different agencies are doing the exact same job. We're working as quality control for the others. We're helping each other out. The DA will help me out with certain things, saying, how come this hasn't been done? Oh, thank you for catching that for me. In order to streamline these cases and make sure that everything fits smoothly. We've had some glitches throughout the way, but it's a new program, and that's kind of things that we have to move on with and learn from. So the first 28 days, a person signs a stipulated prison sentence. Probation has to prepare a report. The normal stipulated prison report is pretty simple. I mean, it's the offense, it's the victim info, and no discussion, no interview, nothing. We prepare that report, we submit it, and that's all that prison has. That's one option. The other option is they sign up for immediate sentencing. That report has even less detail. Well, what we're doing is we're doing a little different approach. We're interviewing the defendant, the inmate. We're finding out his side of the story. We're finding out his personal information, backgrounds, family. We're finding out why he committed the offense instead of just using what the police report stated, just to kind of get a better idea of what his specific issues are. We'll go ahead and move on to the slide part of the presentation. The life plan is the SB 618 case plan, which will guide each participant through the entire program participation. It is termed the life plan because it is intended to assist the participant beyond the end of the program or supervised release and into the rest of their life. It is also intended to be a living document that will continually be modified as the participants' risks, needs, and strengths change and as they progress through the program. The elements of the life plan are based on the results of various assessments completed by sheriff, probation, and their contractors. The areas that we mainly focus on are the big three: substance abuse, vocation, and education. We focus on criminogenic needs. We focus on medical, dental, mental health issues, and the goals and objectives for each of these issues. We've identified the main three because those are the significant three that we pretty much see on everybody. But in understanding the way this program is built, there is deviation from that every now and then. We recently had somebody who had a serious mental health issue. We all understand that everybody has some mental health issues, but this person just was disabled developmentally. So we went ahead and added a fourth category as mental health to make sure that it's flagged for further follow-up and they receive the appropriate services when they arrive at CDC. Elements of the life plan also, previously mentioned criminogenic areas. Some of these are family reunification, parenting, housing, community support, criminal associates, criminal thinking, substance abuse, and gender responsiveness. I will go a little more into detail about gender responsiveness, but also in the same philosophy about how it's ever-changing. There could be individual issues that this person has. The person may have his teeth rotted out, from serious meth use, and feels that that's something that he has an issue with because of his self-esteem. So we'll try to highlight that and try to have them receive those services to get, their teeth worked on so they don't feel that that's an issue. And then we can move on to the next issue. And we kind of prioritize which issues are more important first, second, and third. Development of the life plan. The multidisciplinary team comprised of sheriff assessors, prison case manager, CDCR classification, PO, will come together and provide input for the life plan initial recommendations. With this piece, some of the items that we review, the sheriff has gone on and been trained by CDCR staff to do the dental assessments as well as the mental health assessments, and they prepare the chronos similar as they would in reception center. So if you hear from one of these participants that I've already had dental done, that's probably the case. Sheriff staff also do the TABE and CASAS testing. They conduct the same exam that would be conducted in reception center, and they go ahead and do that. We in probation would do a full-on face-to-face interview as well as the COMPASS risk assessment. The prison case manager goes and interviews the person in jail before they arrive at prison. The CC1 also does the same. They go and interview the person at George Bailey if it's a male, at Las Colinas if it's a female. Once we have all this information, we schedule the MDT. We get together in the professional side without the participant present or the candidate, and we discuss the issues. We identify, if there's a family criminal history, if there's some gang issues involved. We talk about this. We talk about this in confidence, and we note things in the life plan in order to flag it for the following person. The prison case manager is there, which will be the next person to receive the life plan once they arrive at CDCR, so he has input into that. Use of the life plan. The initial version of the life plan will be sent to the sentencing court where it is reviewed and be addressed by judicial notice. This means that the court cannot sentence somebody to SB 618. A judge cannot say, I want this person to be an SB 618 participant. This is an agreement between the sheriff, the DA, probation, CDCR. It's just a way of processing the person. The judge, can make recommendations, but that's all it is. It's not a sentence. A copy will be sent to the prison case manager for use in guiding the participant through the first phase of rehabilitation. The prison case manager and the CC1 already have information about this specific candidate 28 days to 20 days before the person even arrives at CDCR. So the paperwork is started, archive files are ordered in order to expedite that process when they do arrive at reception center. Because that's our main focus, getting these people through reception center quicker so they can get into general programming. An updated version will be passed on to the community case manager and parole agent prior to the participant's reentry. Christine will be discussing the community case manager, and she will go into the details about the handoff of the life plan. And as I said, it's a fluid document, receiving updates as the person progresses. Right now, the person could have an issue where him and his ex-wife don't get along. They have completely, they don't see eye to eye. But all of a sudden, the person arrives at prison, and now they're best friends, they're writing regularly. Well, we're going to make those modifications in there. I'll, however, note that there is this past issue that, the person managing the case should be aware of. Gender responsive definition. We are also receiving female candidates. I believe right now we're at 5 at CIW, and I think we have about another 3 to 5 that are in the local Las Colinas custody. So we need to identify those specific issues. Creating an environment through site selection, staff selection, program development, content, and materials that reflect an understanding of the realities of the lives of women and girls that addresses and respond to their strengths and individual challenges. Some of the gender responsive issues that will be addressed in the life plan: vocational, getting better paying jobs and getting out of non-traditional careers. Affordable child care, because we do understand that most of these people need help with regards to child care. Even if it means, obtaining child support, that's something that the community case manager will assist in making them aware of those individual issues. Domestic violence prevention, making sure that we have those referrals, because we want to make sure that they're away from an abusive relationship if they're going to be out of custody, because then they'll be more inclined in towards self-medicating, using drugs. So we want to avoid that altogether. The community case manager will assist with that. Post-traumatic stress syndrome and other issues associated with being a victim of child abuse, molestation, sexual assault, domestic violence. Victimization results in depression and low self-esteem, which are often underlying issues to substance abuse and lead to crime, to support and addiction. Some other issues on gender responsive. Witnessing domestic violence as a child may cause increased vulnerability to victimization in adulthood. Women in the criminal justice system have extensive histories of physical and sexual abuse and are 3 times more likely than men to have a history of abuse. 1/3 of the women in state prison and 1/4 of those in jails report being raped sometime in their lives. Women's substance abuse is highly correlated with physical and sexual abuse. Criminal justice facilities are managed based on policies and procedures developed for the management of male offenders. Gender differences in women's pathways into imprisonment, offense patterns, behavior while incarcerated, and their needs before, during, and after incarceration must be considered in planning an appropriate correctional policy and intervention. It is crucial to the success of the female participants that the gender-responsive issues be addressed both in custody and by providers in the community. County contracts for the SB 618 community providers will require this capability, as well as knowledge and ability to refer participants to other agencies that can help address these gender-responsive issues. Ongoing efforts are underway to ensure that the Life Plan will be gender-responsive. CIW has been the facility selected for female candidates, participants. We have one female is being processed currently who has who's currently pregnant. Well, CIW has a new program that's going to be coming on board in which for the first 18 months of the child's birth, they'll be able to watch the child grow and they'll be in the facility. That's something that they're working on. Hopefully it'll be available in the near future. The Life Plan, in summary. It's the centerpiece for SB 618 and the program. This is a fluid document that could be modified by people that have been trained in the SB 618 philosophy. It is based on input and results from a myriad of professionals and assessments. We are making these recommendations from the beginning in order to provide that continuous service. That way the person knows what's at the end of the tunnel versus not knowing what's at every turn and every corner. The Life Plan will be modified throughout the program as more is learned about the participant and the situation changes. It is the map for the prison and community case managers and the parole agent as they help the participant navigate the road to rehabilitation and reduce criminality. That's the end of the presentation. On page 21, there's an actual copy of the Life Plan. It's a blank copy. You can review the sections, and some sections that may not be there, if we feel are important, we do go ahead and add those. So if there's any questions, I'll be around at the end of the presentation, specifically about probation processes and the Life Plan. With this, I'll introduce Scott McClure with UCSD.